to need a big towel or a couple of towels if you've only got smaller ones, rolled up to give you a nice round fat sausage, all right? So today we're going to be starting what I call our seat equalization work. So what do I mean by seat equalization? Well, when we sit in the saddle, we need our hips and the group of muscles within our pelvis and our glutes to do quite complicated things. They need to allow our thighs out to get out around the horse, but they also need to bring those thighs the correct kind of in onto the horse. And they need to be able to take the leg on and off without us scrubbing at the horse with our calf or our heels. They also need to be able to go into and out of the right kind of rotation through the hip and thigh so that we can have that elegant, effective leg with really refined control over what signals those legs are sending into our horse's body. Now, as I mentioned in the welcome video for this challenge, that little orchestra of muscles in your hips and pelvis has different muscles whose job it is to help with this sideways outwards movement and the gentle closing inward movement too. But a big root cause issue for all of us before we start working on this is that each of those in or out muscles also has a secondary action. So as well as taking the leg out, some of them want to rotate the thigh inwards with the knees coming in. Others want to take the leg out and rotate the thigh outwards with the knee going out. And in fact, one of those muscles can do both rotating inwards or outwards, depending on where the front of your hip is. So there's so much more going on under there than you realise. So on one side, you may find you're naturally taking the thigh out and rotating it in, and on the other side, you're taking the thigh out as required, but you're rotating it out slightly without noticing. And the different sides of your pelvis are actually moving and holding themselves differently, using different muscles in different ways. So what you might notice is that one thigh doesn't sit against the saddle flap in quite the same way. You end up with more weight in one seat bone and so on. And then, because of all the stuff I explained about stabilizing versus moving, when the muscles which are working hardest get stuck on and refuse to let go, their opposing muscles then kind of switch off and go offline. And that's happening in different ways in each of your hips. So no wonder we find it hard to be straight and elegant and comfortable and effective all at once. But don't worry, it is totally trainable and you are starting right now. We are on it. So a quick word on one of the key stretches in this video, okay? And you will come to know and love it, I promise. It's the pretzel, and it is famous here in Rider Pilates Club, as you will see from the Facebook group. So it's something I developed and created when I was searching for a way to fix a very deep-rooted part of our natural pelvic asymmetry. And so it's something that you won't have tried anywhere else in this form, even though it may look similar to another stretch you've done before on first view. Now, listen, you might not be able to get into the proper pretzel right now. Lots of people can't here at the start, but do not let that put you off, okay? Nobody's allowed to panic and think that, oh my God, this isn't for me, okay? Either just get as close to it as you can, or I've given you alternatives on the button below this video for anyone who can't bend knees or hips for the pretzel position at the moment. There is an option for everyone. The pretzel is here because it is amazing when you can get into it, but lots of our members can't do it at first, okay? So if that's you, that's cool, don't worry. Just use one of the alternatives today and be assured it's the bendiest thing we will do this week. Everything else is less bendy. So don't forget, come and find the day one video post in the Rider Pilates Club Facebook group after you've done your session, and please let me know which movement felt most needed for you. And did you pretzel? Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome. So hopefully you heard in the sort of pre-session introduction that we want to use a nice big towel rolled up nice and tight for one of the releases that we're going to do in the session. So have that to hand near to wherever it is you're going to be, because we're going to start out in seated and we want to be able to grab it from where we are. Okay, so come down to meet me on the floor. So we're going to start out with a little bit of a mobilization for the inside of the hips. So bring the leg so that one thigh is as close to sort of vertically out in front of you, and that shin is as close to sort of being 90 degrees horizontally across. And then you've got similar here. with the knee quite close to the heel of that foot. So I'll just bring those around so you can see. Okay, if that's a bit much for your knees, then it's totally fine to have the legs sort of looser, slightly straighter. What we're focusing on here is the feeling that we're getting inside the hip, not what's going on with the knees so much, okay? So just work to your level of comfort and your range. Okay, so all we're going to do here, hands can be on the palms or on the fists if that is uncomfortable for you. We're just going to gently rotate over and over, moving nice and slowly, letting that knee drop as close to the mat as it's comfortable for it to do. Totally normal for it not to be able to tap down onto the mat at this stage. Just let it go where its current range is. We're not forcing anything, we're just mobilizing at this stage. Not that we're going to force anything at any stage, but you know what I mean. All the more important here at the start. Super. So just letting those sort of thigh bones roll over inside the hip socket is the feeling that you're going for. Nice, one more each way. And release, lovely. I'm going to stay seated. I'm going to cross my legs like this. If this is uncomfortable for you, totally fine for you to have the legs out in front of you, to have them wide, to have them together. You can also do this sitting on a hard stool or chair if sitting on the floor is difficult for you. We just want to make sure we can be nice and upright through the body. I'm going to turn sideways to show you the first one. So nice relaxed shoulders, nice and long through the back of the neck. Reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. We're going to take a nice big breath in through the nose and use it to expand the back and side of the rib cage. So we're taking the breath into the back of the body to make it feel bigger. So off we go. And exhale. Keep the shoulders soft. Inhale. Expand the back and side of the rib cage. Sides plural. And exhale. Lovely. Now take another inhale just like that. And as you exhale, think of scrunching the front of the body to round through the back and push the spine back out behind you. And then as you inhale, come back up and think of lifting the chest. Exhale to round. Inhale to come up. Keep going just with that rhythm. Now don't worry if you can't get the breathing. It's totally fine, just keep breathing nice and slowly. I will remind you around how to use the breath. Lots of people find it really difficult to get at the start. Actually, for quite a long time, it took me forever, but it doesn't matter. I will keep giving you the reminders because one day you'll have headspace for it, right? But for now, just focus on breathing. And I'll tell you if it's really important to get it the right way around as we go through. And last one. And release. Okay, stay where you are. I'm just going to turn back around to show you the angles better. Nice and simple. We're just going to grow nice and tall through the back of through the crown of the head and long through the back of the neck, so the spine feels nice and long. And we're going to come up and over and give a little gentle side bend, and then keep moving. Stay long, so keep the chin slightly tucked and the back of the neck nice and long. As you come through the middle, think of growing an extra little ½ centimetre in height, so you get a little taller every time you come through the middle, to create that feeling of allowing space for the vertebrae to move. Lovely. Nice job. And come back to centre. Super. So for this next one, there's a couple of different options for how you position the legs. So I'm going to keep the legs crossed, but one is in front of the other. Okay, so it's not on top. You can, as I say, if this is uncomfortable for you, it's totally fine to do this with the legs in the same position you were just using them a moment ago, okay? You can also do an adaptation of this sitting in a chair with one foot on the floor and one ankle resting on the opposite thigh, but just get us to wherever is comfortable for you. And we want to make sure we're sitting up on the fleshy bit in front of the seat bones. So the pointy bits that would point down into the floor, we're just on that bit of flesh in front of those, so that we're nice and tall and ever so slightly arched through the back, okay? And then from here, what we're going to do, just wriggle the leg as you need to get comfortable here. We're still just mobilizing, it's fine. Small little movements are absolutely fine. We're going to keep a nice, slightly arched back, so a feeling of slightly lifting the tailbone as we just hinge forward. So it's not rounding, we're hinging. We're keeping that back feeling flat and come back up. So we're just hinging forward to a point where we feel things get a bit stretchy. And then we're gently coming back out and just moving softly with control. Nice, keep that back flat or slightly arched even, depending on how it feels to you. Just definitely not rounding, otherwise we won't be getting it where we want it. So we should be feeling a bit of stretching around the seat bones. One more this side. Lovely. And then if you've got the legs, so if you've got the legs straight, just carry on where you are. If you've got the legs in any way crossed, whether that's on a chair or on the floor, swap them over and go again. Nice lifted tailbone. So we're slightly arching through the back and we're hinging from the hip rather than rounding through the back. Okay, so we're hinging like this, not going like this. Good, and going to the point of where it feels nicely stretchy, and then just gently coming back out. So we're just putting the body there, getting it used to using the space available. Keep that tailbone feeling like it's a little duck bum behind you, so the opposite of the tail between the legs. Nice flat back, a little bit of an arch, one more. And release. Lovely. Okay, let's get into our release work. So as I mentioned, we're going to use some really clever techniques to ask muscles to release, which is a different thing from stretching. And sometimes a muscle needs a release rather than a stretch. And we always use a combination because sometimes it actually needs a little bit of both. So we want our nice fat rolled up towel for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the towel and we're going to put it behind one thigh, sort of halfway down. And then we're going to lie with that thigh, so the towel feeling nice and secure. And then what you're going to do here, so this will be creating a bit of a bend in the knee. Just keep the other leg neutral. Doesn't really matter what's going on with the rest of the body, just make sure you're comfortable. And we're going to push the heel away, okay, so as if we're sort of forcing our heels down on the horse, which is a conversation we'll have another time about when we do and don't want to do that. And so we've got this, the heel pushing away, and we've got this bit of bend in the knee. And then what you're going to do is you're going to push the heel further away and you're going to activate, so squeeze with the back of the leg to try to squash that towel down to try to straighten the leg. Okay, so it's quite a small movement. You'll feel like you're not doing very much apart from just trying to squash the towel. And hold there. Just breathe. The heel is reaching away, and the hamstring, the muscle down the back of your thigh, is trying to squash down into that towel. And then release. Have a little reset, and we'll go again. Push the heel away, and then push the heel away as you activate the hamstring to push down into that towel. So you should feel a little bit of work going on, obviously through the back of the thigh, a little bit of work going on in your glute. It's not desperately hard work, but there's just a little bit of activation going on in there, and that heel is constantly trying to push away. And release. And you're pressing vertically down into the towel. One more this side, push the heel away, and then push the heel away and try to activate that hamstring, so sort of tense that hamstring to push down into the towel as if you're trying to flatten the towel with the heel pushing away. You probably will feel work in the front of your shin as well. That's fine, to be expected. And keep pushing and release. Lovely. Just shuffle the towel over to the other leg, get the other leg comfortable. Same again, so the heel is ready to push away. We've got a nice bit of softness in that knee, just resting on the towel. And then off we go. We're going to push the heel away, and we're going to sort of tense the hamstring. It's an activation rather than a real clamping, but we're going to make that hamstring feel like it's got some tone in it, some resistance in it, ready to push down into that towel. And you're pushing down into that towel as if you're trying to get the leg straight, but without your hip lifting. Okay, keep that heel pushing away. So you've got that work, you're just holding there. And just breathe here. And release. And then we'll go again. Push the heel away from you. Activate that hamstring. So you're thinking of making that hamstring strong in order to, the back muscle at the back of the thigh strong in order to push down into that towel. And release. And one more. And squish. Push the heel away. And release. Lovely. Okay, you can come back up to seated and we can pop the towel aside. Keep it nearby because you might want to use it for a bit of support a bit later in the session. And we're going to come to standing. So bring yourself up. Give yourself a second if you tend to get dizzy when going from lying to standing. Some people do if you've got a little bit of low blood pressure. Okay, so next up we are going to do awesome movement this if you need it, and we're going to do some variations on this throughout the series. So just come with me as I explain the position. So one foot's going to step forward a bit like as if we were in going to do some lunges or something, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the back leg, you're going to take it out a little bit, and then the front leg, you're going to take that out a little bit. So we've got sort of like a wide lunge going on, okay? We're going to come down into this leg. So most of our weight is in this front leg with a nice bent knee. This leg is going to stay straight. The toes are facing forward. Don't feel you need to force them, but you're looking for the toes to be forward. So already you'll be feeling a stretch through the front of this hip, most likely. Take both hands and put it on this hip. This is for feedback so that you can really tune into the movement that you're asking that hip to do. And what I want you to imagine is that you've got a pencil going straight down to the mat from this hip and that you're drawing little circles on the mat, okay? So we're drawing tiny little circles, bringing that hip across and in and then around. Keep that foot planted. Keep this leg straight. So this leg is just bending and moving however it needs to enable you to draw this circle. And so you should be feeling stretch at various points of the circle. But we're moving through those stretchy bits, keeping the muscles guessing. And use that feedback from the fingers to just help with your coordination. Nice. Keep this leg straight. Make sure it's a nice round circle coming into all the stretchy bits. Now take the circle the other way. And again, make sure it's coming out into all of the stretchy bits. Make it as round as you can make it. It's like you're drawing a circle, probably the size of a sort of side plate on the mat directly down, getting that circle to be as sort of horizontal as possible, if you know what I mean, as if you were drawing, as if the hip was just sliding around in a circle on a table. Obviously it will need to come up a little bit as you go behind, but that's the feeling that you're going for to get you that stretch right into the sort of ball of the joint. And one more. And release. Lovely. Okay, let's swap sides. So bring the feet in. So we go for our normal sort of lungy position first. Then we're going to take the back leg out a little bit and then the front leg out a little bit. Okay, keep that back leg straight, keep that foot facing forward. Come down into the knee on this side. So most of the weight is in this leg. Hands on there, fingers just on the point of the hip, just to give you that feeling of precision. And off we go, drawing those circles. Letting this leg bend as it needs to. Feeling really good. I really like these moves. Gives you a good feeling of stretch, especially through this sort of quarter of the circle. Move with control, move within your range, okay? We want a nice sort of stretchy, expandy feeling. We never want pain. But we do need to ask it to go to the edge of its current available range. Okay, take those circles back round the other way. So you're drawing that side plate size circle, keeping this leg straight, keep that knee locked. One of the rare occasions when we do want to keep a knee locked. We'll go right out at the circumference of that circle, making it as circular as you can. Lovely. And step out of it. Awesome. Okay. So if you're working with a mat, then come to the end of the mat. If you're working wherever, it doesn't matter. In terms of sort of how you're lined up, it's just if you've got a mat, we might as well use it the right way around. Okay, so hips to around about feet distance. Other way around, feet to around about hips distance. Same thing, but more useful information that way around. Softness in the knee a little bit here. Pelvis in neutral, so not duck bum, not tucked under, but just feeling nice and neutral. Shoulders nice and soft. Back of the neck nice and long. Crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Take a nice big breath in through the nose to expand through the back and side of the ribs, so you get that nice feeling of expansion through the back of the body. So, and then on the exhale, we're going to tuck the chin and then slowly roll over, taking one vertebra at a time, down and over. Just breathe normally now you've run out of exhale. Let the weight really come into the front of the feet here, really over the toes. And you're coming over one vertebra at a time. Bend your knees as much as you need to here at the bottom. Just hang out here for a second. Lovely. Just breathe normally, but try and take deep breaths through the nose. And try to take the breath into the back of the body to expand the spine and expand the rib cage. You can really use your breath to give you a stretch from the inside out. And then here, just take both hands over to one side of the mat, or your imaginary mat if you aren't standing on one. Keep the hips square on those so that you're getting that lengthening through the side of that waist on that open side and through the hip on that side. Take a big breath here and expand that side of the waist. So take the breath, imagine taking it down into the waist on that side. Feel everything open up. Exhale. Come back to center. Over, take the fingers to the other side of the mat or imaginary mat, but keep the hips square on with the end of the mat. Inhale here, big breath. Take the breath into the side of the waist, into the hip on that side. And exhale. Super. Back to center. Lovely. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to walk forward with the hands. You're going to, actually, let's first take the feet a little bit wider, might find it easier. And then you're going to walk forward with the hands, keeping your tailbone up in the air. And just come to a downward facing dog. So what you're looking to do here is push the weight into the heels of your hands. Don't think about forcing the heels down, and totally fine to keep the knees bent if you need to. And what we want to think about here is we want to think about getting the collarbones reaching towards the ankles and getting that tailbone lifting towards the ceiling. So you can actually, if this is difficult, have quite a deep bend in the legs, but really think of lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling, and you'll still be getting a lengthening where you want it, okay? Or you can have the legs straight. Either way, whatever suits you. We're not here for long, don't worry. I know I say that. Lots of people love downward dog, lots of people really don't. Okay, and then we're going to come forward, bring the knees down, and come down to seated again. Okay, so let's pretzel. Famous, much trailed. Okay, so this movement may look like something that you have done before, but it isn't unless you've done stuff with me before. Okay, so I say that simply because it's quite easy for the eye to look at something and go, oh, I've done that, I know what I'm doing, and then just to get into autopilot doing it, and you might miss sort of important things about the technique. All right, okay, and the other thing to say is, as I mentioned, of course, if the pretzel is too bendy for you today, go to the button, check out the pretzel alternatives, use one of those and pop back into this video, okay? But give it a go, you never know, all right? So we are going to lift one seat bone. So I'm sitting right over onto this hip, okay? This foot that's on the floor is going to come underneath that lifted seat bone. Okay, so it's in the space created by this seat bone lifting up. This foot is going to come over and it's going to plant down on that side of the front of the thigh. We're keeping this seat bone lifted, so we're quite twisted up now. Just get to wherever you can get to. If you need to prop yourself up on a couch or something, that is absolutely fine. But I'm going to show you the full version, And as I say, give it a go, get as close as you can. Use one of the alternatives if you need to, all right? So from here, this arm, it's going to come forward and it's going to hug around the top knee. So it's hooked on round here. And so now what I can do is I can use this hand to pull my body weight over into this foot and lift this seat bone even more. From here, now in this position, think of reaching that seat bone, that lifted seat bone. Think of lifting it and reaching it out behind you. So think of it coming up away from the floor a little bit, and then it trying to reach out behind you. Obviously, it's not going to move because it can't, but that's the feeling, the intention that you're going for. And then you're going to hang out here, getting as much body weight over